the Voices of the Future podcast by the Childhood High School Media Club, where young minds meet great minds to learn, explore, and be inspired. I'm your host, Zahra, and today's episode is all about music, alright? Not just about the sound, but the story behind it. Joining us today, well, today is not any ordinary day, because today we are joined by a legend in the Zambian music industry. He's a producer, a visionary, and a man whose work has shaped the sound of a generation. Please help me welcome Mr. Yahya Kaba! So, what is the podcast, Mr. Kaba?
Thank you so much, and I would like to say, first of all, that I think you're going to become a very good presenter. I can see just from the start that you have everything that you need to be a very good presenter. I'm sure Kenny's taking notes. When you need a job, whenever you're ready, you should just put in that CV and you'll get the job. Thank you.
Trust me, I will. So for our first question, just to kick things off, how exactly did your journey in music begin? Were you always drawn to sound and rhythm as a child?
No, funny enough is, I always tell this story that I got into this business accidentally, and a lot of people don't believe me. So I started off first as a rapper back in the late 90s. I know most of you are not both far from it. I would say around 1998, me and my friends in a group, we used to rap and we tried, and I don't think that was really my calling at the time, so I sort of discarded that. When I completed school, I wanted to get to university, but unfortunately, at the time, the resources were not available, and it was a bit frustrating because my father tried to get me into university. I dropped out, I went back, I started doing my IT. I just went as far as diploma, but I couldn't finish my, so I ended up just dropping out. Then I started working in the pharmacy. So while I was working in the pharmacy, I had a radio that I used to listen to. So at the time, this was 2002, 2003. I think 2003. So at the time, there was the new radio stations like QFM and Choice FM had just come on board, and there were these young radio presenters that were sounding fresh. I remember listening to Pookie C for the first time, and I remember listening to TiVo for the first time. I was like, wow, this sounds good. I remember telling my cousins, like, you know what, I think I know what I want to do. I just woke up and said, I want to become a radio presenter one of these days. So he laughed at me. He's like, but you know what, you actually speak well. I think you're going to do very well on radio. So that's how I started pursuing my dreams. I started going for auditions. I got rejected so many times. I remember going to QFM on about three occasions. I got rejected. And finally, I auditioned at Choice FM. TiVo heard me and he liked what he heard, then he called me back, and that's how I started working. Then fast forward 2007, I got interest in making music. I remember I did a gig I was emceeing Danny's media launch around the country. So I made quite good money at the time. I bought a computer, I started buying studio equipment, I rented an office at Pinnacle House, and that's how KMA started. And I signed Judy, signed out for Romeo, and the rest is history.
So the journey you've had has all started from other forms of
music.
Yes,
absolutely.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
So what inspired you to become a music producer and not, say, a singer or performer or rapper, as you mentioned before?
Well, I mean, it's a talent. I would have loved to be a singer. I love, because even the music that I make with all these artists like Chewe, like the Kalema song, My Regret, all these are songs that I've had so many contributions because I love the music. I like to make contributions when it comes to melodies, co-writing. But God didn't give me the talent to sing, so God gave me another talent. So God gave me the talent to actually make the music, to co-write the music, and just to have an ear for what sounds good. That's the talent. That's something that God just gives you. So it's not about, oh, I want to become a singer. So you need to recognize what you think is going to work for you. So even as young people, as you're coming up, you should know that even if you love music, but if it's not your talent, don't force it. Find something maybe in that space that you can do. So say, for example, if you can't sing, you can become a manager. If you can become a manager, there's so many things that you can do in those spaces. So you need to understand what you think works for you and run with it.
So you found being a music producer more sustainable than?
Absolutely. And also, so for me, why and how I knew that I was going to become a music producer is because, first of all, I loved music. So I'll play music on the radio, and I love that R&B sound. And I remember I would go to the studios. I remember I'd go to TK's studio in Roma, at Roma side, and I remember I'd make some remarks, I'd say something, it's like, oh, I like that ribbon we put on the snare. It's like, how do you know about these things? I'm like, I don't know, I just have interest, you know. So for me, music production, I had to learn from scratch. You know, a lot of people tell you, oh, I learned how to play the piano or the keyboard in church. For me, it was, I just learned by ear, you know, just to listen and knowing that this sound is supposed to be played like that. And, you know, so that's how I learned. And before I knew it, it was a calling, you know, and I went on and I've been making music since 2007.
What was the first track or artist that you've ever produced for, and do you still remember how it felt hearing your work on the radio for the very first time?
There's a song by Judy called Doubting. I don't know if you people know that Doubting song. I keep it with PJ, so Judy featuring PJ. So the song that I made before, but that's the song that I remember making professionally. So when I started producing music, that was the very first song I produced professionally, and it went out and you know, it became a big song. Then I went on to produce all these songs by Alfa Romeo, like President, Will Younger, Ruma, and all these other records.
So like, how did you feel like hearing something that was yours on the radio? Like, was it exhilarating? Was it?
Of course it was. Because listen, you know, when you're starting off, you have the passion. You know, when we started, we were not making money, and that's what I tell a lot of young people. I only started making money 10 years later into what I was doing. So most of the people used to think, you know, this entertainment business doesn't pay. Go back to school, and it's very important. But also, I also tell parents that you should let the kids also express themselves. There's a lot of money in art. You know, you can be a creative that is shooting these things, and you become so good at it, and you can charge a premium. You understand? So if you just hone and and improve your skill, you'll be able to make very good money. So when I was starting off, I heard the song on radio for the first time. I was very excited. But you see, I'm one of those that I've always been optimistic. I've always been focused. I always knew that one day things are going to happen. So when the monetization thing started coming in, you know, people uploading music on Spotify, Apple Music, I was one of the first ones. I mean, not exactly the first, but one of the first people to start putting the music there. And I would say 10 years later, I'm one of the beneficiaries because I was patient. I studied it. I understood how it works and implemented it. And now we're here because we were patient, and you know, we pushed the agenda. And your generation is very lucky because for me to get my music in Nakonde, I had to find somebody that was traveling on a bus to go to Nakonde. You have to give them the CD, let them go to Nakonde, get the music there. It will take another 6 months before they hear the song. So there's a bit of a difference. So today's generation, I found it a bit easier because, you know, technology has made everything simple and everybody can access music in real time. So, yeah. Yeah.
So your production style has quite a unique signature. So how would you describe your creative process when starting?
How do you know? Do you follow my music? Yeah, it has evolved with time because obviously, you know, if you want to stay in the business, you have to be very creative. And I'll give a very good example of Kenny. You know, he started doing his podcast recently, and you know, he would be considered somebody from a different generation, but he's able to tap into the younger generation because why? You've used your experience, number one. You're using your experience and you're tapping to the younger generation. So that combination of experience and tapping into what the young people are doing is a very lethal combination, and you're able to succeed. And I think that's how I've been able to do it. So the way I've been able to do it is I always hang around young people. So I'll tell you, my new co-producer right now is actually a year younger than my son. He's only 20 years old, and he's the guy that I employ to be my co-producer. So every new sound or just everything that is new, I learn from him. I go to him and say, oh, so what's happening? Like, what's trending? What's the new sound that people are running with? So he'll teach me, oh, this is how it's done. You know, so I'm just using my experience and combining that to stay relevant. So that has kept me fresh for a very long time. If I stuck with people that I used to hang out with a long time ago, so they say, you can't teach an old dog new tricks, which is very true. So even me just hanging out with you, I'm able to pick out something. So if I spend, like, say, a week with you, I'll be able to tap into what you're thinking as a young person, and I'll use my experience to put it together and be able to explore some of those opportunities.
So tapping into the new generation has helped the old generation.
Absolutely. That's the one. Nobody should lie to you. Yes, we might be the OGs, but we also need to know what's happening with the younger people. So we pay attention to what you do. I'm not going to be one of those who will come and say, no, I know it all. I want to hear what you have. You know what I'm saying? I will listen. I'll probably even play dumb like I don't know nothing, so I can learn from you. So I'll learn, I'll pick up something. All I need to do is just add my experience to it and run with it. That's it.
So do you have any habits or per se rituals that help you get into the creative zone?
I watch a lot of documentaries about music production, or I just go listen to old music, watch old interviews, listen to a lot of older songs, even some new songs, just to tap into some of those things. And once the inspiration kicks in, then I'm ready to go to the studio and we start to create. And obviously before I get into it, I need to have some ideas in my head of what I want to do. So I usually have a direction every time I'm awake. So I just don't go in and just, no, there's an inspiration and I have a plan. You always have to have a plan. So if you've got a plan, it's easy for you to, like I said, the last album we did with Chewa, we did in 3 weeks. Why? Because we already had a plan of what we wanted to do. So I already had the subject matters, I've already made some beats, so it's like we already know what we want. So it's not like we're going to go in the studio and start thinking of what we're going to do, no. Yeah.
Okay then. So let's talk about the music industry in Zambia. How do you see it evolving, especially with the rise of the young talent that you mentioned, and online platforms as well?
We have done most of the groundwork, so now everything is very straightforward. You get into the business immediately and start making money. It took me 10 years, like I told you, for me to start making any money, because then it was like, you have to get the music out, people know the music. Once the music is known, if you're an artist, you start to perform and you make money. If you're a producer, the only way you make money is that you have to sell the records. We didn't sell as much, so we couldn't make any money. But now, there's monetization. You can put your music on digital platforms like Spotify, Apple Music, and monetize your music. So every time somebody plays your music on YouTube, on Spotify, you're earning something. So the newer generation, your generation, are going to go straight into the business and immediately start making money, and a lot of money. You're going to make way more money than we ever did, because let's face it, we're growing old, we're about to retire, ideas are running out, it's like football. You get to a point where you can't play anymore, so you have to retire. So like for me personally, I don't know how much more time I have, but I'm lucky to be still here, a 42-year-old, still be able to make a big song even this year. For me, it's a blessing.
Tell me, what challenges have you personally faced, or overall Zambian music producers face, that people on the outside may not see as clearly?
I don't like to use population as a challenge, but it could be a bit of a challenge. We've got a smaller population compared to, say, Nigeria, that has got over 200 million compared to us with just 20 million. They have a lot of citizens in the diaspora that are very influential. If you go to the US, there's a very large Nigerian community that are very, very influential. They're able to influence a lot of people, and they invest a lot of money into their craft. It's very difficult for me to spend a lot of money when I'm not making a lot of money. So for me, music now is a big business everywhere. So if I want to reach the markets that I can't reach, I need to spend money. I need to spend money to pay TV stations, radio stations outside the country that will be able to promote the music so that they know the music there. I need to pay TikTokers from, or should I say, content creators from different countries, like big content creators in Nigeria, Kenya, Tanzania. I don't have that capacity to pay them, because my music is not making that kind of money for me to be able to spend, say, a budget of $30,000 to promote my music. I could spend that money and not be able to even recover even half that money, then I'm making a loss. So all these dynamics that come into play. And these guys have been lucky because, first of all, they've got people that have believed in their systems and have injected a lot of money, and the fact that their music now has gone, beyond the borders. And once your music crosses the borders, that's it. You're having tours all over the world. So I would encourage a lot of people to invest into the entertainment business. We know entertainment business in Zambia is already big. We're here because we're the entertainers, and the school felt we need to bring the entertainers because they know the importance of an entertainer. So once they just start injecting enough money into this business, then we'll see it grow beyond what we see it doing.
Okay. So a lot of learners at Chadley House School, as you may know, love music and they dream of producing. So what basic tools or software can young people start with if they don't have expensive equipment?
So there's so many basic tools you can start with. So you can just start, you can tell your parents to buy you a laptop. You can get a crap version of, say, maybe Fruity Loops, then start messing around it, learn, go to studios, see somebody that say, you know what, can I sit and just watch you make music? If you have the interest, you learn, and that's how people learn. So you see, oh, that's how I was doing. When you go home, you try to practice. But if the talent is already there, the more you practice, the more you learn. Before you know it, you take lessons, piano lessons, and I would advise, if you want to learn the proper way, take some of these lessons, piano lesson, guitar lessons, whatever it is, like learn how to play at least one instrument. It gives you a very good advantage. Drums, whatever it is, learn, show interest, learn how to play piano. Once you learn some of those things, your production skills will be impeccable. And before you know it, you'll be the next KB, the next DJ Stash, whoever it is. Yeah.
So, when you're monitoring or working with young artists, as you mentioned, what's the one thing that you always want them to value and the one thing that you always try to teach them?
So they should treat it as a business because it is like a business, like any other business. Every metrics that other businesses have, the music business also has the same. It's just that for the longest of time, people look at it as just, it's just entertainment. It's not entertainment. It's a job for a lot of people, and people make a living out of it.
Because I definitely think that the mindset that many people do have is that the art industry is less important than white collar.
It is extremely important. Let nobody lie to you. And because this is a school, I wouldn't really want to bash, but I tell you that people that are in the entertainment business that have hired a lot of degree holders and they're working for the entertainers because you can't put value on an art form. That's the talent that God has given you, and once you perfect it very well, you're able to do whatever you want to do. So I always encourage parents that yes, school is extremely important. Go to school, get your paper, get your degree. But if you have got a skill that you can do, art is art. You understand? So you have to let them express themselves, let them learn it. They want to become a radio presenter, let them become very good at it. And there's so many success stories. I mean, I'm here, you can see the one on Power TV, same story. Now he started off as a radio presenter back at Phoenix. He'll tell his own story. And now he owns a whole TV station, a whole radio station, and now running a podcast and making a lot of money. And that if that doesn't inspire you, I don't know what's going to inspire you.
So, can you share one unforgettable moment from your career, maybe a performance, an award, or a collaboration that still stays with you to this day?
So, I remember my first year, second year, there was this competition when I was at QFM. Then there was this competition that was put together, and I won Best DJ back in 2005. And then the monetary fund that I got then at the time was 5 million reverse. So it's like 5,000 kwacha now, but the value because of the dollar, it would be around maybe 10 or 15,000 kwacha now. Then for a 20-year-old was a lot of money. I remember I won that money, and I remember going back home and saying, I was voted the best radio DJ, and this is the money that I won, and I gave that whole amount to my father, and he was able to do, there was some work that he was doing, he was able to finish it, and I think that's the first time he looked at me different, like, wow. So this was actually serious, and I actually won a trip to go to South Africa, so I had a chance to go to South Africa to go and, engage with some of the professional radio presenters. And that for me was an eye-opening opportunity because I was just starting my radio career, and I get an opportunity to travel to South Africa and learn some of those things and coming back. So for me, that is unforgettable. I'll never forget that moment. That's back in 2005. So,
wow.
Yeah.
What's something people often misunderstand about what it means to be a producer?
People think a producer is just a producer, just playing around, you're just making music to entertain people. People don't think you make money. People still believe that it's just a pastime. There's something else that you do, and they'll keep asking me, what else do you do apart from making music? I say, yes, I've got other businesses that I run, but I make most of my money from what I do. I mean, it's a job. The same way you're a doctor or whatever you do, that's exactly what I do. That's my profession. I might look like I'm entertaining people, but it's an industry as well. It's an industry that is bringing a lot of money. You can see a lot of new artists, like good examples would be like maybe Davido, that see the kind of money that is made from the music. So, and also sometimes it's just you as an individual. You can become a very good producer, but if you're not good with the finances or you're not very strict about what you do, you might not see success. So success also just doesn't come from being a good producer or good at what you do. It's just also how you handle your business.
Thank you so much for that. And finally, what message would you like to leave the young students at Chadden House School?
To all the youngsters here, if you want to pursue a career in whatever you want to do, be it music production, if you want to become a radio presenter, TV presenter, you want to start your own podcast, please feel free, go ahead, pursue your dreams. But the most important thing is obviously school. I'm here because I'm able to speak this English because I went to school. If I didn't go to school, I would not be able to articulate myself. So it's very, very important that, school is at the core. I mean, we know how important school is. Always have a backup plan, but always make sure that you follow your dreams and do what makes you happy. Because every time you're doing something that makes you happy, it won't feel like it's work. I'm here talking to you, it doesn't feel like it's work. I'm called to come, this is work for me, but it doesn't feel like work. I'm enjoying what I'm doing. I'm enjoying talking to the young people and just, giving this information because I love what I do. Every day I wake up, I want to do it. I'm called tomorrow, I'll be able to do it because I love it. It doesn't stress me out at all.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Yahya Kaba, thank you so much for joining the Voices of the Future podcast today.
Thank you.
Your story is a true inspiration, and we've learned so much from you today.
Yeah, I'd like to see what you're going to do in the next 10 years. Please come on and say, remember I interviewed you? I'm not the one of blah, 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 blah. That was very interesting. Yeah.
So to our listeners, if you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe, share, and keep the conversation going. I'm Zahra, and this has been Voices of the Future, where the next generation.
Thank you so much for having me. A big hand for me, guys!